A FAM production. Furniture and mattress. FAM.news.
Oh, it turns into a celebrity poker tournament to raise money for a fantastic cause. She bangs, she bangs. You're never going to believe who won this year's Ante4Autism poker tournament during Las Vegas market. Doug Krinsky is on the show today, and the Dos Marcos show begins right now.
Welcome to the Dos Marcos show with Mark Kinsley and Mark Quinn, where mattress and furniture leaders gather to grow, get the inside scoop, tell stories, and take tequila shots.
Uno, dos, tequila!
Welcome aboard. Here's your passport to a planet filled with the mattress industry's brightest minds and biggest ideas. The galaxy's greatest mattress podcast has liftoff in 3, 2, 1.
Mr. Doug Krinsky on the podcast today. We are just on the heels in the wake of Las Vegas market. And Doug, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thanks for having me. I love being on. I listen to you guys all the time. And as you know, I know you guys very well.
Attaboy, Doug.
I know that you're, for a fact, your favorite Mark is Mark.
Yeah. With the brown hair, obviously. With the middle name of Allen, I think is safe. You know, Kinsley, my favorite memory of being at Doug's event, and if you haven't been, we kind of talked about it before on our show, but if you haven't been to Doug's Ante4Autism event, that number one is an incredible cause, but number two is so much fun. So I'm sitting, Kinsley, so every now and then he has these celebrities, and he's going to talk about the celebrity that won this event, but so I'm sitting there, and I'm playing next to this guy this whole game, and then Doug gives his speech and he's like, hey, you know, if you're one of the celebrities, please stand up. And this guy sitting next to me, I've been talking to all game, stands up. I'm like, oh, wow. Okay. So what kind of celebrity are you? Like, what do you do? Would I know you? And he said, well, I was in one really big movie. And I said, what movie was that? And he said, Kindergarten Cop. And I'm like, no kidding. I'm like, what role did you have? And he says, remember that line the little boy says, boys have penises, girls have vaginas? I go, yeah. He said, that was me. I could, no freaking way. And so we talked for like an hour about that. I was cracking up and I'm like, did it ever help you get girls? And he's like, oh my gosh. He's like, when you tell people that, it's so funny because everybody knows the movie and everybody knows the line. So I feel like really lucky I got to meet that person at Doug's tournament.
I remember.
Well, congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations, Quinn. I remember the one year I was there, that Jose Conseco was in the house. And so Conseco, of course, you know, big baseball player, Oakland A's back in the day. And Conseco apparently had done something to his finger. The rumor was he shot off his finger with a gun. And so the whole night I was trying to maneuver my way around to see what had happened to the finger. And I couldn't see it. He kept it guarded the whole night. And then all of a sudden he was playing a hand and he revealed the ring finger that apparently had been shot off, and it was there, and it had some sort of brace across it like this, if you're looking on camera, and it was some sort of brace that braced those two fingers together, and I'm like, it looks like a real finger to me. So the celebrity sightings and the fun that's had, I mean, Randy Couture's, you know, fists were as big as my head. You know, he's a professional MMA fighter, or was. So it's a lot of fun. I mean, and then you have industry people gathering. Doug, tell us about this year's event and some of the highlights for you and for the people that attended.
Well, the highlight again for me is one of our charities was there again this year, Torrey University out in Las Vegas. And, you know, it's nice when the folks that come to play can actually mingle with the folks that are our charities so they understand exactly why we're doing what we do. So on top of that, as you mentioned before, our good friend William Hung won our tournament this year. And for those that do remember William, he was the guy on American Idol, I think year 3, that got up there and did sort of what I'll call a comedy routine of singing. And his famous line was, she bangs, she bangs. And what's funny is my co-host, Karina Jett, gets all the celebrities to say something. And, of course, he got up there again this year and sang his little song. And, of course, everybody remembers it. So it was pretty comical again this year. But for him to go all the way, you know, for the 130 or 140 players we had to win it in the end, that was outstanding.
What did he win,
so that
Doug?
was pretty cool. He won, I think, about $2,400 when he won the tournament.
Not bad.
So what we do is we spread it amongst the final table. So the final 10 players actually win money. So we want everybody to walk away with something at the end for their hard work. And frankly, some give back, some don't. We want them to keep it and go tell their friends about the tournament. So next year they'll bring friends, bring more friends, and word of mouth is our best advertising. So it was great.
Who else was in attendance this year that people might recognize on the celebrity side?
The big poker players this year, and again, you may or may not know them, but World Series of Poker is a big thing on ESPN, and their number one commentator is a guy named Norman Chad. So Norm comes every year. He's got a great sense of humor, a very dry sense of humor, but he's the big guy that does the announcing for World Series of Poker. We had two actually outstanding poker players. There was a bunch of them, but there's one that everybody knows. Mike the Mouth Matizow was there, and he was in rare form again. Jeff Madsen was there. They both won 4 or 5 World Series of Poker bracelets. So those guys were there. Chris Loretta was there from Housewives of New Jersey. His wife Jacqueline was supposed to be there, but they have kids, one on the spectrum, and their babysitter didn't show up. So, of course, you got to do your mom thing, and she stayed at home while Chris came and played. And again, Chris and Jackie are the best people in the world. They've actually moved to Las Vegas now, away from New Jersey. So he was there, played, took pictures. And what's nice about our tournament, and I know you guys have been there, is the celebrities, the poker players that are professionals that come are so nice with our players. They'll take pictures, have conversations. They're not standoffish. We're not heavy on the cause. We're very light on the cause, but we understand that, they want to come and have fun. We talk about the cause, but those are probably the highlights of who came this year.
Doug, tell us about the cause now. Speaking of that, how much money has Ante4Autism raised, and where's that money going?
Well, this was our 14th year, and I have a couple of announcements today. So I'm going to announce a couple things. Publicly, I broke that we raised about $125,000 this week when I did the first press release, but we've added it up. It's actually $139,000 we raised this year. So that's actually one of our better events. Thank you very much. Wow, you got it all queued up for me, Mark. Huh? That's it.
Hey, the applause is real. It just came in at the exact right time. That is huge, Doug. That is fantastic. What a great total.
I never get the applause button, Doug, ever. So you're special.
I've noticed that. Even after tequila shots, I've noticed that.
I try to get the womp button, but I can't find it in the right moment for Quinn.
By the way, you'll notice behind me is my presenting sponsor's table felt for $125,000. But kiddingly behind that, speaking of tequila shots, are all my pictures of Sammy Hagar and his Cabo Wabo tequila. So just a little side note there. I am a fan. So, but anyway, getting back to Ante4Autism, we've now raised about $1,200,000 over our 14 years. Where does all that money go? Well, each year we have 5 different charities that we donate the net proceeds of the event. So each year, we split it up evenly amongst the 5 charities. This year, we've rotated in a couple new charities. As you see on my collar here, Autism Speaks is one of the biggest entities out there in the world. They do great work. They're always one of our charities. National Autism Association of Southeast Ohio. They get down into South, kind of East Ohio. They get into West Virginia, Appalachia. So for the families that need services, therapy, they need to go to a convention. They need transportation for their kids. They provide that. We have 3 other charities. Toro University out in Las Vegas. They do tremendous work with kids. They work with pre-K up to about age 13. And they'll do things from, as an example, my son, when he was 4, he couldn't speak. So we got him into Nationwide Children's here in Columbus, Ohio. And he's now 24. He can speak, he can carry on conversations. So these charities get in early as they can intervene and help these kids in whatever way they need. Some of them also help adults on the spectrum. My son is 24. He still goes through horse therapy, which is one of the charities this year. It helps him with his balance, occupational therapy. So even at 24, these adults on the spectrum need help, in addition to the kids that need help. So each year, we have 5 different autism-related charities that help the kids and the adults and the families, because it's very important for the support network to get whatever they need to help the individual on the spectrum as well. So it's a wide variety.
And Doug, based on the statistics that I kept hearing at the tournament over the years, I noticed that the number of people on the spectrum was growing. I think the last number I heard was 1 in 44 children were identified on the autism spectrum. Is that number correct? Number one, what are the latest stats? And then in what you understand by working with these organizations through the charity, what is leading to that increase?
Actually, that's the latest number from the Centers for Disease Control. They're the entity that really we look to for numbers. So it's 1 in 44 kids will be born today and end up on the autism spectrum. So I think there's a wide variety of reasons why it continues to be a higher prevalence every time they kind of measure that. And I think number one, the environment has impacts. I think, your body, your mark and your DNA is different from Doug's. So you impact with the environment differently than I do. So as your body, just like, I have hay fever every spring, everybody doesn't have hay fever. But I think what's happened is because the environment, and again, this is sort of my opinion on it, but the environment has so many, and I'll just use the word chemicals out there, that I think as your body interacts with them, people act differently. And I think the more preservatives in food, and I'll throw that in there. I mean, there's just a lot of factors that play into this. I do also believe that back in the day when mercury was in some of the vaccines, that preservative, it's a heavy metal. I know that there's several parents that have kids that I know that were impacted by those vaccines. Are vaccines the cause of it? No. But has it impacted some of those kids because their DNA is different from other kids? Yes. So there's just, unfortunately, and I'll give you a short story. It's a long story, but a short story. Probably about 18, 19 years ago, I was appointed to the official Ohio Autism Task Force. The area that I focused on was prevalence. So it was growing then. Actually, when I got in and my son was diagnosed, it was 1 in 10,000 kids, and we knew it was growing. Now it's 1 in 44. It's incredible. But we tried to look at what is causing the problem. And the problem is you can't identify one thing or two things that's causing it, and it does continue to grow. And fortunately, we do have the federal government kicking in money with Autism Speaks and other entities to try and investigate, do research to try and find out what is causing it. And really my focus is really on treatment and therapy for the individuals that have been diagnosed. What can we do to help them and their families? So as much as the government and AS are going after the research, I really can't impact. I'm no Roger Magowitz that has enough money that can go out there and make an impact on the research. But what I can do is we can have an impact on the individuals that need therapy and support. So that's what we focus on.
Wow. So glad to see, Doug.
It's a mouthful, I know.
No, you're doing a lot of good stuff. And, autism is one of those things. I think we've all been impacted by that. And so the fact that you're out there making those things happen and raising that kind of money, well done. Mark and I have been to the event. Happy to say that I usually last a lot longer on the tables than Kinsley. He usually goes out pretty quick, but he's getting better. So I think he'll work his way up to the final table someday. And then when he does, maybe he can stand up and she-bang, and then bring joy to people. Kinsley, what do you think about that?
Well, I have a claim to fame. Okay, I do have a claim to fame.
Last
2 tournaments ago, I actually played, and there was a gentleman that sat down on my left. And if you know anything about poker, you want to be to somebody's right. And so the gentleman, there's an opening hand of the tournament, and I got dealt a Queen 8 offsuit. And there was tons of action, though. I was a little bit late on the table, tons of action all the way around. And I was like, okay, I'll see a flop. So the flop was Queen 8, 9, I think. And so I had 2 pair, and I'm sitting pretty tight. And then more action all the way around. I was like, well, I'm going to ride this out. I know it's early in the tournament. So I ended up knocking out everybody, including the guy to my left, Chip Jet.
There you go.
Right out of the gates. Now, Doug, tell people who Chip is.
Well, you'll be happy to hear that he actually won the event last year, the year after you knocked him out. But Chip Jet is actually a professional poker player married to Karina Jet, which is one of my co-hosts of the event. They live in Las Vegas. I just talked to Chip at the event a couple days ago. He must have spent thousands and thousands. He just played in a World Series of Poker. I think he was in as many as 15 different events during the World Series. And I think what people don't know is the World Series of Poker is one main event on TV, but there are literally dozens and dozens and dozens of other World Series of Poker events that happen during the big tournament out there. Chip is a fantastic person, as is Karina. He's a tremendous poker player. And again, he won last year and got second place this year.
Well,
so
no, and when I did, so I didn't last very long in that tournament. Quinn's right. The next year I played, I decided I was going to try to push people out early on, and I had pocket aces. And Karina was playing with me at that table, and Karina knocks me out with pocket aces. And I went all in early to try and push out the action, but it didn't work.
Never know.
Yeah, and Chip bought back in, and he went way further than me in the tournament. But wonderful people, wonderful cause. You're a wonderful guy. And I just love that we're raising awareness about something that impacts a lot of people in our industry, their families, and a lot of people, around the world. And, it's interesting to hear your take on it, Doug, because this idea of, genetic expression or your body and the way that you interface with the environment is different for everybody. And I love that you're helping people that have, family members and loved ones in their home every day that are dealing with these challenges and building them back up. And hey, for people who don't know you outside of your Ante4Autism role, you're with Brooklyn Bedding. And Brooklyn Bedding, a great company with a lot of different brands, making a lot of news lately. Since you're here, give us some updates on Brooklyn Bedding, because I know there was a recent acquisition.
There was. Thank you very much. Again, before we get off the Ante4Autism, I do have to thank you guys for putting me on. The amount of exposure we'll get with this will be tremendous, and it'll help the cause. So thank you. On Brooklyn Bedding, yes, we recently brought in Bears Mattress, great company. They do a tremendous job at what they do, but they're slightly different from the merger that happened with Cerberus really last year. So now we have three tremendous brands. We have Brooklyn Bedding, which Brooklyn Bedding does a lot of different things. I'm part of the wholesale division. You guys know me from my Serta and my Restonic days of selling on the road and managing on the road. That's what I continue to do for Brooklyn. So I'm in their wholesale division. But on the Brooklyn side, we have a tremendous brand, tremendous website. We have retail stores. But we got together with Helix Sleep, and now we have Bears Mattress. So we have three tremendous brands that, direct to consumer wise, they do a tremendous job, and they do a little different thing. Each one of them has a little different niche amount of business that they do. But, together combined with our Cerberus folks, we will accelerate growth for all three brands. I'm really not up to speed on everything going on in that division, but, John Merwin, he and his brother that founded the company do a tremendous job. John is still very active in the business. And we had a tremendous market. So all in all, great acquisition, great merger, great brand. And we hope to continue to allow them and help them explode their business. So it's great.
I got to go in the showroom, Doug, and saw Eric Johnson there, and I got to see you and was impressed. You guys are doing some great stuff with products. So hats off to you guys. And Doug, I've known you for a long time, and I want to thank you again on behalf of Kinsley and I. We love to try to make it to that event, but it's so tough with dinner. So we're going to try to be better about getting to it. But the thing I also want to say, Mark, and I know you'll feel the same way about this, but one of the reasons I love this industry is because it comes out and it supports people like Doug and Roger Magowitz with the Magowitz Foundation. And we're just so good at rallying around causes that are important to the people in the category. And so for all of you that have supported Doug in the past, or Roger, or attend these events, I just want to thank you on behalf of the fam, and just say, keep doing it, man, because that's what it's all about. It's about our fam. It's about coming together around causes that are important, around people that are important. And it's just it's what makes me so proud to be in the mattress and accessories and sleep business. So well done. Hey, Kinsley.
Yeah. And I just want to put an exclamation point on it. if you weren't able to give or be there, you can head over to Ante4Autism, and it's Ante, and the number 4, autism.com. And there's a donate button up in the right-hand corner. And we can, extend the mission even beyond market and even beyond the tournament. So, Doug, thank you for giving people a path there to continue to give. And of course, when you subscribe to fam.news leading up to the event, we publish the information that Doug and his team put out to make sure you know when the tournament is, who's going to be there, and how much fun, and all the different people from the industry that have given. So you're in good company. And that banner behind you, we were always very proud to work for Leggett & Platt. We were always very proud of our leader there, Carl Glassman and Kathy Glassman, for their generous hearts. And they're the ones that got us plugged into it. I remember I walked into the room years ago, it was like 3 tables, and now you're filling up casino rooms. So well done. And Doug, did we miss anything that you want to say?
A couple things. I do have to agree with you on Carl Glassman and Kathy. You talk about a leader that leads by example. And again, Carl and Kathy donated personally this year as well. But he's also handed it off to Mitch and Tyson over at Liggett. I can't thank them enough for continuing to lead as presenting sponsor. $25,000 for our event is tremendous. One more announcement I guess I'll make was just a trifecta for me, which is Bedding Industries of America is going to come back again as our final table sponsor. Furniture First shirt I'm wearing today, if you can see it. They're going to come back as another $10,000 sponsor next year. And I just heard from Tom at Plan Furniture Promotions, PFP. They're going to come back as a sponsor again this year. So love our sponsors, love our players, love Mark and Mark, and I really appreciate what you guys are doing as well. So that catches me up on everything. And again, we appreciate everybody helping the cause, but it's really helping the kids. The kids are the winners, the adults on the spectrum and their families, because they'll get the support and the therapy they need. So that's where really
Doug, thanks so much for being on the show. And thank you to, like you said, Bedding Industries of America. I know Stuart Carlitz and his heart and his family and the team members there from BIA and, Plan Furniture Promotions, Furniture First. I mean, wow. I mean, just to have that endorsement as soon as you come out of this event saying we're back in, let's keep this mission moving forward. That's huge. So Doug, thanks again for being on the show. Thanks for all you do. And we look forward to getting caught up. And we may have to reel in John Merwin at some point. So you may want to grease the skids for us there. We'll get John on the show at some point. All right.
I'll plant the seed.
And if you're listening to this show, yeah, you bet.
Thanks, guys.
If you're listening to the show, don't forget, share it out. Tell everybody about Ante4Autism and the fam. We love all of you. Thanks for listening.
You can bounce on it. Yeah, bounce with it, bounce with it. Bounce with it, bounce with it. All right. What is a hybrid? It's like peanut butter jelly, peanut butter chocolate. Hybrid so tight, there's no way that you could topple it. Hybrid on my wrist, that's a calculator watch. We add ourselves together and we take it up a notch. Got the airflow, yo, keep you cool as it get. Visco foam alone to make you drip sweat. Get a hybrid mattress, yes, you'll get better rest. Cool and comfortable, hybrid like a sweater vest. You know the game, we're ahead of the sun, cause the two of us together are way better than one. Cause I'm cool as ice, and I'm hot like a heater. Bounce by the ounce, now we got it by the liter.
Well, you take a spring and you wrap it up right. You can sleep so smooth or bounce all night.
Yeah.
Put two together, get a whole lot more. Get the feel of the comfort core.
You can bounce on it.
Lay back, you don't have to practice. It's the best thing to happen to your mattress.
Yeah.
Get together to do it like I did. Everybody get hybrid.
Sing hybrid. If you want somebody to get in your vicinity, you probably want to feel a little bit of a hybridity. Foam alone, out of 5, maybe 1 star. Springs and foam, we're taking care of that lumbar. Mad back support, the best way to shack up or just get rest that won't mess your back up. Like a hot chick mixed with a particle physicist or a mullet. Party in the back of the business. Best of both worlds like Mars and Venus. The ultimate hybrid, nothing short of genius.
Keeping it loose while keeping it tight. We can make you sleep or play all night. Put two together, get a whole lot more. Get the feel of the comfort core.
You can bounce on it.
No stopping when the beat gets played back. Springs keep it popping, foam keeps it laid back. Party over here, get invited. Everybody get hybrid.
Sing hybrid.
Listen, doesn't matter if your kitchen is charming when your bedroom's the most important part of the apartment.
What kind of bed do you keep back there? Does your girl wanna chill on a beanbag chair? Hell no!
You need springs and foam, cause if that bowling ball don't bounce, you'll be sleeping alone.
And if the bed don't react, then you can't get low. We got that type of bounce that won't spill your Merlot.
So stick with us and you'll get rewarded.
Cause I'm so gentle
And I'm so supportive.
Hybrid is where the magic is.
And we just killed a song about mattresses.